As I mentioned in the first video of this series, I wanted to ask myself a question and answer that question. What is my purpose? And I've been able to simplify it as sort of as cultural and economic transition. Well, in this video, I want to focus on economic transition with someone that also has experience being impacted by economic downturns. I have learned a lot about how these things happen and all the different aspects of justice that are connected together, including economic justice, and also even more so focusing on solutions, how to solve these kinds of problems. And the focus for me, because there's only so much time in the day with everything else that one has to do, has been on economic justice, even though I'm very aware of and have included that subject matter in conversations, as well as my cable access television show, the NOWMan show, NOWMAN. I understand racial justice, social justice, environmental justice, and economic justice, and many forms of justice I've talked about on my television show, other media that I've done, and personal conversations. I understand this, the intersectionality, the connection of it all. But economics specifically has been my focus, and it will continue to be. And I will go into more detail in more videos as this series continues. But predominantly, my focus has been on short-term and long-term solutions, and of course, short-term solutions like say a universal basic income. Talked to Andrew Yang about that. Also talked to people about Medicare for All, which would get everyone covered in the United States with health care, and would be a work in progress, but at least it would get everyone covered, which is what we do not have and have not had, even though we've been working on it supposedly for 100 years plus. So the long-term solutions include basically a new system, which I think is coming, and I think it's important to be prepared for that. And worker ownership is a big part of that. I think worker co-ops, institutions that allow workers to have more say in what goes on in a business, what's produced, how it's produced, and what to do with profits, because those decisions are not usually left to the workers. They're left to what's called a board of directors, often stockholders. And so it's basically changing the ownership of how these things are done. I mean, if you do the work, you should be able to share in the ownership. And if we say we're really for a democratic society, then we should practice what we preach and actually put that to work. Now, no idea is going to be perfect because humans are flawed, as we know. But I think that this is a realistic start, because I don't know of any institution right now in 2020 that isn't in some kind of major crisis. So we need to prepare for the transition, let's say, to another system economically. So the solutions are there. We have tools to use. It's just really a matter of educating ourselves and each other, and enlightenment of the masses to understand why this is so important going forward. And there's so many issues, as I mentioned, that are intersectional. I want to get into that as time goes on, but this is the gist of economic transition that I feel that my work is involved in, because on the NOWMan show on cable access in the Los Angeles area, now on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV streaming, as well as the two YouTube channels, the NOWMan show on the Aurora channel, and the NOWMan show by itself, which is a more grassroots type of channel. There's a lot of content there, and will continue to be, and I think it's important to continue this discussion, but I wanted to start very basic with 2 videos, and so I'll continue on to elaborate more on all these topics next.